Reggie,
here we are
welcome back. That's my traditional phrase when I am at your place and I welcome you back to your own place.
Semi-working vacation in Milan.
Reggie, before we start, this time, I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
You're Dutch.
That's true.
How would you describe Dutch traffic and driver mentality or driver behavior in general?
You are controlled by fines in the Netherlands. So a smart Dutch guy that doesn't want to spend money is going to keep himself to the rules, not to get any fines that he needs to pay to the government or everything.
So you would say it's comparably civilized?
Very civilized.
Okay, so then, as a Dutch guy who is accustomed to civilized traffic, because I'm now the second time in Milan, you know where I'm going with. How the fuck are you coping with Italian traffic, driving mentality, and driving dynamics?
It's very simple.
I can't, for the love of God, I don't understand how this works.
It's very simple.
I really don't.
Drive a cheap second-hand car, and all your worries go out the window.
I mean, I told you during my first visit, when I had to describe Italian traffic and driver mentality, it is a constant state of avoiding accidents. Yes. That's what it is.
Yes, you have to imagine you are driving on a circuit and everybody behind you wants to pass you. In any way they can.
It's completely and utterly mad.
Roundabouts, you have seen the roundabout.
Yeah.
I try to describe it as a circle and you keep the edge of the circle. No, they make half a circle. So if there's a possibility to go straight through, they will go straight through. They will not take the effort of making it.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I am Austrian, but I live in Switzerland. And I would also say the Swiss are, of course, there are the mad people in every country, but it's overall rather civilized. And dear God, those Italians are completely mad when it comes to driving.
That's true.
Completely mad. Which is the most elegant transition ever to the topic of our podcast. Can car care chemistry kill you?
Absolutely.
Because if it doesn't, then Italian traffic will.
There's something that will kill you either way.
And that's a thing that will be and should be the overarching topic. Yes, you can look at this topic from a position of anything can kill you, and it's a matter of time when it will. Or are you actively and proactively trying to avoid things that will kill you? I cannot avoid the Italian traffic. I have to come to visit you. But I can avoid stuff that potentially kills me.
Absolutely.
And that's the topic we want to talk about. It's a topic that is very close to our heart, and I personally think is criminally underrated in the whole industry. Not only by the end users, but also by some companies.
Yeah, let's state first and personal that the personal responsibility you have to maintain the health that you are having at that moment should be the the absolute priority. Personal health from your own point of view.
Yeah.
Then there should be regulations, certifications.
Absolutely.
There should be some people that check this, because even though we are very far in this industry, it's still a free profession. In the Netherlands, you don't need education, you don't need anything. You buy a polishing machine, you register at the Chamber of Commerce, you rent a place, and you can start doing detailing.
I think it's almost globally the same thing. Yeah.
There's no accredited training so far. That's why this is another podcast. I can feel this coming. Is that the entire master detailer is the whole master detailer?
I have it on my list. Yes.
The whole master detailer thing is just like this. Master detailers do not exist. They have not been accredited. They have not been tested. They have not been proven. They don't have any educations there. Or we indeed have one.
It is.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I'm going to look forward to that. Because there's one thing I hate. It's when people call me master detailer. And I told this at Labo. I hope now slowly it starts to turn into master trainer. That I can live with, because I have had some pretty extensive education in the military to train people to at least to educate them to a certain goal. Yeah. So the goal of the training is, this is what you need to know after this training. And my program or the lesson that I build for you is going to manage that. We are going to achieve that goal in that amount of time. But for this all regulations and everything is the things you can do and the things they don't. And I don't want to go too deep into the conspiracy theories and everything, but the fact that you wore a paper mask during the pandemic, but you don't wear a mask when you're working with solvents in the ceramic coating, blows my mind.
Yes.
blows my mind.
Yeah.
You put it on for what was happening back then, and something that we know what could do to you instead of these chemicals.
To be fair, we were forced to do so.
True,
Yeah.
still true, still also true. But then I come back to the personal, the responsibility you have to see yourself through to your retirement.
Yeah.
I believe you are working now to maintaining your life and to save up for your retirement so you can spend the last years of your life doing nothing at all or doing the only thing that you like. So if that's the goal, retirement, then please, the retirement itself is not the biggest goal. Getting there in the absolute most best state of health to enjoy. Nobody wants to enjoy their retirement in a retirement home. You want to enjoy by traveling, by doing vacation, and you can only do that if you have good health. And the things that we did, and I'm the last guy to say this because, oh my God, my youth, the things I did in my youth, I'm happy to still be here because me and my friends, we did some crazy stuff. There are some 50-50s in those eras. But now knowing where I am today, I have to look a bit further. And especially with the equipments we have, not even knowing what type of filter you need for the mask, what type of filter for the mask is already, I think...
Stretching it.
They are already, thank you, stretching it. It's a very politically correct term because I wanted to say something else, but we'll call it stretching.
So let's try to go somewhat methodologically through the topic. I wrote down some points where we can start with it. So, I mean, the simple answer to the question of can car care chemistry kill you is absolutely fucking yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. And it's not even a case of slowly over time,
no.
or maybe it is a case of yes.
Yeah.
If you use the wrong chemicals in the wrong way, it can instantly kill you.
Yeah.
And there have been enough cases. I mean, the one example I always have is fabric coatings and convertible top sealants, because those things that are in there, and especially if you spray those in an enclosed area in your garage, there have been cases where people have been put into hospital because they sealed their lungs.
Yeah.
It absolutely happened.
That's true.
And if you like, I mean, yes, you have to be somewhat of an idiot or like, let's say careless. Let's put it that way.
Careless.
You have to be really careless in order for that to happen, but it can happen. If you drink a ceramic coating, if you drink some really nasty chemicals which are available, yes, it can absolutely kill you. But I don't think that's necessarily the topic we have to talk about. I think it's more the slowly over time, over prolonged periods of exposure and use that is not that well known. Because the other thing, yes, everyone understands that if I drink a ceramic coating, I'm probably having issues afterwards. But not everyone understands that over prolonged periods of exposure to polishing, because there is dust of that stuff flying around, over wheel cleaners, which you spray and inhale some of that stuff. I think that's more the topics we need to talk about.
I think so too. I think if from the range of a couple of things that seem to leave Earth very fastly are common sense. Common sense is becoming more and more rare. You say, but how do you know this? Because I get feedback back from certain product experiences that I think if you took 10 seconds more to think about this, you would have known by just thinking about this that it's not going to be a success. And I see more and more of those crazy cases. Yeah. I can tell you a couple of cases that absolutely will blow your mind by the arguments they use to use a specific product for something that you cannot imagine using it for. I'm not going to use the example because I'm going to tell you privately. Okay. I don't want to expose anybody.
Okay, that person would know it. Okay.
That probably because this is a singular, unique case that I've ever handled in my life.
And this podcast is not there to shame anyone individually. It's there to discuss topics at a larger scale.
Yes. Yeah. And what I have seen in the last years, this is one of the biggest helps I have for not doing research, but stuff that keeps getting thrown in my face through a magazine, is the Pro Detailer magazine.
Yes.
There is always a certain section, and the first issue I ever read was about mental healthness. Mm-hmm. Mental health.
Yes,
for what happens when the detailer goes home, the project is still in his head. When he comes home, he's still busy with his work. How is this affecting his personal life? How is this affecting his children, his relationship, and everything? And then they have the PVD, the Pro Detailer Validating Organization or something.
Yep.
Is not an organization like the IDA where you get certified and recognized as a certified detailer or something. The PVD is mainly educating you in these type of things. Storing your chemicals, taking care of yourself with personal health issues, with personal protection, insurance for the entire
I think
group.
they are not, because I had a podcast with the guy who, Dave is his name, who runs the PVD in the UK.
Oh, Dave McNish.
Yes.
Yes.
And they are not educating, they are just testing. So they are accrediting detailers, but they only do the tests. In contrast to the IDA, they don't themselves offer courses. That's the difference.
Okay, okay. But at least,
but they test that stuff. Yes, absolutly.
And at least it comes back in the latest issue. There's also a beautiful piece about how surfactants work. There's also another personal health section in there, the wellness section, and I think these things are very important. And you can read symbols. Do we have a symbol? Yes, we have a symbol here. Here, symbol. If you do not know,
if you're listening to the podcast, he holds up a product from Labo, and there is one warning symbol on there. And maybe it's time to talk about those warning symbols, because they are not that many. I think it's 7 or 8. And let's just talk about the most popular ones. There's the exclamation mark, which means
non-specified danger.
Yes.
What danger for you?
Just danger. Just
danger.
In general, don't drink it.
Yeah.
Try to avoid it. And also be careful with, it can be damaging to eyes. It can be damaging to lungs. It can cause irritations to your skin. That's usually the overall thing with the exclamation mark. Then you have that symbol you have on that bottle, which is the corrosive or
caustic
symbol, which usually is on there if a chemical is either strongly acidic or strongly alkaline. However, you have a pH neutral product there, it can still have that symbol on there, which means the chemical has the potential to be caustic or corrosive to either materials or also, I think it's mainly materials, but also
both.
Skin and health.
I have luck that I have done the ADR. It's the dangerous goods for the truck many times to understand. So I know the numbers on the trucks. When the truck says 33 and 67, I know exactly what's even by the UN number. I can see what kind of a product is inside.
So it's the exclamation mark. It's the corrosive symbol. Then it's the lung symbol, where you have the symbolization of a human lung with a star in the middle.
Counts as the entire internal. So taking in this product, in either breathing, swallowing, that is the general meaning for the taking in of the chemical.
Yeah, can be harmful or even deadly. That's pretty much the most serious symbol you have.
Yeah.
Then you have the fish symbol, where it means it is dangerous to aquatic life or in general the environment, the larger environment. Then you also have the flammable symbol. Yeah. Obviously, it can be a flammable. You usually find that on aerosol cans. Yeah. But also other chemicals.
Coatings a lot.
Coatings, yes, of course.
Hoping to move, we see hoping this year a little bit movement, a little bit less flammable. And,
because of a change in the solvents in there, yes. Yeah. Did we miss one important one?
Let me see. It's not often, but the skull. It's still used.
Yes, the skull.
The skull,
obviously.
The biggest and the most important one. The one that is guaranteed to deliver. So swallow that and you will definitely turn into a skull with 2 bones crossing.
And we will, I have one topic I want to talk about in regards to that, yes. Because I know of one specific ceramic coating that has it on there. Yep.
I also know a product, and I also have a case where somebody got this stuff on his body.
Okay.
That's we're definitely going to explain that.
So those symbols are there for a reason. Now we could be like superficial and say yes, they are on there because the manufacturers have to put them on there because of some legislations. And yes, there is some leeway in that regard. Nanolex currently has a product line they call Green X, which is supposed to be healthier for you, healthier for the environment, less deadly, less worrying in that respect. However, if you look at it and you look at the material safety data sheets, we'll talk about those things in a minute. If you look at them, there is still stuff in there that on its own has warning symbols, but nonetheless was smart enough to keep the percentage of that stuff in the products low enough so that they don't have to put the symbols on the bottles. So the symbols and the material safety data sheets are one thing. However, assuming that if there is no symbol on the bottle, it is not going to be harmful is also wrong. And there is some leeway in the industry and some shady things, some gray area stuff that is going on in that respect, and it's going a bit into the direction of greenwashing.
Let's give a tip. Any tip, if you take any MSDS, you don't need to understand what these chemicals are named, how to pronounce it, but I can tell you that if you cannot pronounce the chemical that's inside, I don't care if it's their logo on it or nothing, if there's something inside that you cannot pronounce, you will treat it as if it has a skull on it. Because you have no idea what these chemicals are doing, including me. I have no idea. If there says polysiloxane, I've never seen one. It's a very long word. It's going to do it very good.
That's the thing we said at the beginning. I think most people understand that you shouldn't drink those chemicals. However, it's not just the drinking. We are constantly, as detailers, as hobbyists, if you're using that stuff a lot, you're constantly exposed to it. And I think those are the dangers that no one thinks about. If you spray something and finally missed it and you're not 100% sure that nothing of that spray lands in your lungs, you're already at risk.
You're taking a gamble.
Exactly.
You are starting, literally, you're starting doing Russian roulette. You're taking a gamble.
Exactly.
And because you don't know, that very strange exotic cancer that you get in 20 years might result in what you did in this era.
And that's
you might
exactly
just even
the point.
push yourself to that. You might even go turn on the switch, or you have no cancer and you literally turn on the switch for getting cancer.
Yes.
Because of the use of these
things.
Yes,
exactly the point. And I think that's my main goal with this podcast, to make you aware of that stuff a little bit more, because you can prevent it.
Yeah.
You can work against it. You can wear a mask every time you spray a chemical or use a chemical.
True.
You can wear eye protection.
True.
And you can wear gloves. And doing all those three things, in my opinion, significantly reduces your own personal health risks.
If not eliminated entirely.
If not.
Because making no problem means there needs to be no solution.
Exactly.
So instead of... think for me, breathing, yes, port eyes, but I have never had a splatter or anything. I will take my skin, of what my skin is doing. Yeah. And I'll tell you my protocol, because you see me often not wear it. During demos, it happens a lot. What do you do when you have been exposed to these chemicals? How do you get rid of them? And I take something very sneaky. It's called nascent iodine. So it's an iodine at an atomic level in combination with baking soda. Every day, every in the morning, and any heavy metals, PFAS, BPAs, or microplastics get kicked out of my body, even nuclear stuff. Think about a nuclear disaster, you get iodine tablets. Yeah. It's to cleanse you from the radioactivity. Yeah. Well, this is not an iodine tablet, it's a droplet. It's 600 micrograms per drop, and you take it in a glass of water. It's good for your thyroid, and it cleanses your body. So I compensate, because I have to be honest, all the health things that I know, I'm still a smoker. I still smoke. I smoke. So don't take health advice from me. Just see what I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying, try to find it if what I'm saying is true, and then adapt it to your own situation. But my main protection should be the skin, because we work with so many nano products. Yeah. Not only nano ceramic coatings, nano shampoos, and nano means it's 1,000 times smaller than a micron. That means that a bacteria is 2 to 5 microns in size. That means that nano is smaller than bacteria. That means they are going to go through my skin.
And your skin is absorbent. That's the important thing. It is absorbent.
The biggest organ of your body.
Yeah.
It is. It absolutely is.
And as we said, that's the thing. We want to make you aware of those things, and ingredients and material safety data sheets are the starting point. That's a good thing. I personally think that every professional detailer should have the material safety data sheet at hand for every single product he or she uses. Because let's just, I know it's an extreme example, but let's take the
what if.
Exactly. What if the most serious case that can happen? You are using an acidic wheel cleaner, a drop of it lands in your eyes, and now you're going to the hospital. It will be, the chance of you getting out of it okay will so So will be so much higher if you have that material safety data sheet with you, because then the doctors know what to do. They know who to call. They know maybe they can find out what it is that caused it, and maybe you're going out of it okay.
I promised you that story. Well, I'm going to add to that story because I had a case when I was working in the car wash. We tried to clean the stainless steel every once in a while because the car wash with the polymers and the cleaning clogged up the stainless steel. And there was only one product that was successful enough to work in that time frame. It was called Naval 50. It had every single danger sign, warning sign on it. Contact with the skin is considered kidney failure and death after that. So the rule was that the only one working with that product was me, because I was the only one to know the dilutions and to have enough safety. The other ones were part-time employees that only came. Then I got a phone call. I'm at home. One of my guys was washing the washing machine of the car wash, and he got a diluted version of it on his sweater sleeve. He said, so I asked him, did the sweater touch your skin? And he said, yes. So can you roll off do you have a spot? So he opened up his skin. I'm rolling up my sleeve, and here on the right forearm was a red spot. Yeah. And this was diluted. So I sent him immediately, because I had it on PDF, I sent him that. He said, you go to the hospital right now. You don't wait, you drop everything, don't care if the business is open, I will go to the business close with you go right now. He took the PDF with the MSDS on it. They could know exactly what to treat it with. And because it was, Naval 50 was an acid, but an acid in the corrosive range that scares you, because it had the skull and everything on it. That little bit that he had on it felt a little bit irritated. It felt like a first-degree burn. But if you just treat it like that acid was going inside of his skin, was going into his bloodstream, will eventually shut down his kidneys, because his kidneys will think, there's something coming through, I can't clean it, I'm going to stop the circulation. Same thing happened to my father, same thing. He's now blind and deaf on one ear because of this. He had this spot, he got a special cream, they treated it at the spot, and he got a special cream that he had to keep on for a couple of days, and then he was okay. But if he did not and he went 24 hours later after he became dizzy or he started vomiting, and you cannot relate to the situation. Well, you imagine that he did not take it's because of the chemical. No, he wakes up the next morning thinking he's starting to have a flu. He goes to the doctor, not taking in the MSDS, not taking in the chemical. The doctor starts treating it as something completely else. And then kidney failure, heart failure, brain, TIA, going out, I don't know what else, you're going to die. Exactly. It's you are going to die. Now,
and I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast. Yes, it's all extreme examples, but think yourself, what if it happens to you? It's the same with wheel cleaners. Pretty much every single one states somewhere on the bottle or in the material safety data sheet, it can be damaging to your eyes. It can be. And I have heard of cases in our community where people have almost become blind because of one single drop. They were at a public wash place, they sprayed it, there was a bit of wind, the spray came back into their face, and that was it. They had to go to hospital, and they almost lost their vision.
Oh dear God, you're at the freaking self-wash unit, and then this happens.
Exactly.
Oh my Lord, oh my Lord.
That's why I say it's not only the professionals, also for private people. I highly recommend that you A, have the material safety data sheets at hand, and B, and that's calling out every single manufacturer that does not do this, only use products where you can get access to those material safety data sheets, because there's still brands out there where these things are not publicly available on the website.
They don't care about the product, they care about the money they make from the product. It's a full commercial operation.
Exactly, and if you really start to look into this, I mean you can do this at your own time. If you really look into this, it's maybe 2 handful of companies which do it and which do it properly. Having all the material safety data sheets and having them available on the website. It's only 2 handfuls. I can, from my own experience, and wholeheartedly say Sonax does it, Koch Chemie does it, Dodo Juice does it. I'm not sure I think Mafra, Labocosmetica.
We have, I know 100% for sure that we have one of the strictest.
Good, closed, you do it too.
To find it online is, I know for sure.
But then again, many brands and unfortunately, many popular brands don't do it. It's still, I don't know if they're not obligated legally to do it. And if that's your excuse, Okay, yeah. I couldn't. I as a business owner couldn't live with it, with that responsibility.
I like lifetime customers. Somebody that is going to use, buy, and do these products for a lifetime, not single use.
Exactly.
I'm not looking for the single use people.
Exactly. And I mean, going back to what can you do to prevent it? The example with the wheel cleaner in your eyes because of the wind, simply wearing eye protection covers you from that.
Yeah.
And it may look stupid to wear that, but it covers you from that. It's one simple piece of equipment that costs, it doesn't even cost $10. It's cheaper than that.
It's not going to make a problem because you have the prevention of the problem on your face. So you don't need a solution. We will say, all right, we'll take a salt solution eye shower. What if you buy also that in case that the glasses start to fail? I don't know, maybe it goes with an angle into your face, but to have both, or to at least have something close to you that can help you and aid you in this, because I have had once indeed a glue dissolver, taking off foil from a tint from a bus, and I was the glue dissolver, and I got this drop of glue dissolvent in the eye, and if I was not at a place where I knew where it was, I would not have found the eye shower with my eyes closed, because I had to run to the office with my eyes closed to get that eye shower, and then put it like this, because you can't put it like this because the chemical runs down your face, and like this.
And I mean, now we are really into a territory of what if, but let me just, your microphone is good. What if you are a professional detailer that runs a business on his own, you are at the workshop on your own, you don't have a girlfriend, a wife, or a boyfriend or a man who you can call if something happens? What do you do if something happens to you and you have never thought of this? I can tell you, you will probably start to panic when you're in your workshop. There is some chemical in your eye, you can't see shit, your cell phone is somewhere at the place, you don't know where. What do you do? I mean, that's an extreme case of what if, but I think 99% of detailers, especially when they're young and especially when they're freshly starting out, they are not thinking about that stuff. And I think it should be thought of. It needs to be thought of.
The most important thing about detailing is the person that it needs to hold the sprayer bottle, to hold the polisher. That's you. It's you. Everything about you.
Exactly.
It's your eyes to see the scratch. It's your hands to you wield the machine. It's all these things. So,
I mean, those are scary thoughts, but
money is important. Yes, money is there to need to pay the bills. But if you are in this business to become rich, then you chose the wrong profession.
Yeah, and it's not even becoming rich, because if your argument is, yes, but I need to make money in order to feed my family, think about what happens if you can't feed your family because you got ill from it.
With one eye, with one hand, with no back. Yeah, but think about
what if?
Think about your back, the one that's been forgotten because you don't feel it. Never.
Exactly. We didn't even talk about that. We just talked about stuff that can potentially kill you. What about all the other stuff that can potentially harm you in the long run? Running polishing machines all the time. We talked about that. You did in the last podcast. It is a physically punishing job to do in general, detailing. So it will be punishing to your body. And what about also not using the products that do harm to yourself, but using the products which can then, if something goes wrong, also cause harm? Because I wrote down 2 examples. Using tire shine on rubber floor mats.
Exactly.
That's one very, very, very popular example that you read a lot, and it enrages me in a huge way when someone recommends to another detailer, yes, you can use tire shine on your floor mats. It will be dry to the touch. Let me just tell you right now, because Reggy can probably tell you more from a manufacturer's side, it being dry to the touch doesn't mean shit. As soon as you go on that mat with wet shoes, it will be slippery.
There's also
it will be.
And what is evaporating from there? What is going off from the seat? What is being touched with the seat? You drop anything, there's always an exchange. You know there's if there was water falling on the car, if it stays too long, there's an exchange. Something is left on the car.
Yep.
Something I understand that that you can use an APC for everything. I understand this. I know you can use this on the interior, but what is left behind? Are you preparing a car for little children and you are using the most cheap caustic APC that is created by man? You clean everything in the tempo that you do. The day after, little children are going to go to school. They have an immune system that is literally a couple of years old, not accustomed to anything. And they get exposed to chemicals that you used in that car to generate a fast result, that it looks good, but you don't think about the harm that you do for other people or yourself. My God, I mean interior coating.
Dear God, don't get me started.
Imagining putting PFAS holding materials on plastic that you are touching, putting it on your steering wheel. PFAS is never going away unless you do something very specific. Some chemicals will not go away. They will stay with you forever.
And you know how children are. They will lick stuff. They will lose their food and they will pick it up. There is a risk of them getting it into their bodies.
Yeah, I wish, if you know, now I now know that it costs time, it costs experience, it costs education, informing, research to find all these things, because there is no master detailing school where all these things are being taught. And if you are really caring about your customer, then you will also care about what you do to his car or to do to the substrates that you leave it in behind.
Interestingly enough, we do. I mean, I am a Sonex master trainer in Switzerland, and in Switzerland, we do. That's one decision we took. We are including a good portion of time in every training we do to exactly those topics. Ingredients, material safety data sheets, warning symbols, health and safety measures, and also stuff that can potentially be harmful to you as a user, the detailer, or your customers, because the children is a perfect example. And we can give you more examples of stuff that is happening in the industry where Reggie said it perfectly. The only thing that many detailers care about is the results and is the quick results. Ozone machines.
Same.
Ozone machines. Every single time someone asks, what do I need to do to get smells out of a car? It's always 50 people recommending ozone machines, and none of them have done any research on what ozone actually is, what it does to the interior of the car, and what it does to the health. Because what it is and what it does, chemically and physically, it is an aging treatment. Everything that ozone gets in touch with in the interior starts an aging process, an accelerated aging process, which can be harmful to some materials in the interior, especially plastics, vinyl, and leather. They will age quicker. It can cause things like cracking. And if you're not very careful with it, it will definitely be harmful to you as a user and to your customers. If you're not 100% sure that every single ozone particle in there is out of the car, it will be harmful, and those customers will spend a lot of time in that interior.
Yeah, so I agree. There's a reason, there is of course the use for an ozone machine, but that should then be the solution for a certain problem. It should not be a mandatory thing that's just going in there to give the car like a new fresh scent.
No, and you need to absolutely know what you do with it and how you use it and when you use it, because in some circumstances they don't work. You're creating a risk for not having even the effect that you're wanting. Another example, mold removal. How many detailers offer mold removal as a service? I have a very, very strong opinion about this. If you don't know anything about mold as a detailer, you shouldn't offer it as a service. No, absolutely fucking not.
I say hardcore, you put on the glasses, you put on the overall, you put on the face protection, because if it's growing into your seat and you are brushing it out and it's flying through the air and you are breathing it. I have known about a kid about 23 years old that went to the hospital where they thought it was cancer, but he had a fungus infection. In his body. And it was almost, literally, I'll repeat what I said. He went to the doctor for what he felt like was a very, very bad flu. The doctor was treating it like that, and then they thought it was cancer. And right before they wanted to start giving him chemo, they found out it was a yeast or a fungal infection. Where he got it, nobody knows, but he got it. But he almost got chemo for misdiagnosed for a fungal infection. And I think if you take a fungus and you put it in a place where there's a lot of air and a lot of moisture, you have a very good growing place for some fungus
And,
for some
to
mold.
be honest, if you wear like a full bodysuit, you're already 15 steps ahead of everyone else, because most detailers I see offering that service, they just clean the car as if it would be a regular clean.
I get goosebumps when they start brushing the mold. When they literally put on the drill brush and you see the mold and you see the mold starting to powder up, I'm already going...
Exactly.
Oh.
And it's not only dangerous for you, it is incredibly dangerous for you as a detailer. Let's really put an exclamation mark to that. But if that's the reality of mold removal, if you don't know what type of mold it is, and there are like hundreds different ones, what you do maybe you don't even have an effect on it. Maybe you're even accelerating the mold grow afterwards. And if you're not 100, that's my main thing here. If you're not 100% sure that you actually removed the specific mold you have in a car and you removed it 100%, then don't offer it, please, because you're promising your customer to remove something from the interior of the car where they spend a lot of time, and you're not completely sure about it. And they depend on it. They depend their health and safety and life of it.
It's a guarantee that you simply cannot give because you simply do not have the knowledge to...
You don't have the knowledge which mold it is and what type of chemicals you have to use it. You have to use very, very, very dangerous chemicals in order, fungicides, to remove that stuff. And you usually don't clean the foam that's underneath the seat. You maybe clean a seat or a
layer of fabric.
A layer of fabric on the surface, but you're not cleaning what's underneath it.
No,
and the mold will be there as well.
And that's why the fabrics change, but we don't want that foam wet. That's very difficult to dry. There could be a complete new smell coming from your seat that you were convinced that completely disappeared. And there is no ozone machine in the world that can penetrate that layer of foam.
No.
One has been growing, and if we remove it, we don't see a nice yellow-colored foam. The foam has been discolored from God knows what has been happening on that seat.
And to be honest, even if you're a consumer who listens to the podcast, if you're a professional detailer asking for advice from others, if anyone tells you, if you ask for mold removal tips and someone tells you just ozone, run. Run for your life, because that person has no idea what they're talking about.
Don't say no cure, no pay.
Absolutely. No.
Because if you're not alive to pick up the no cure, then of the no pay, then you need to be alive to do this. You need to be alive to go to court.
Exactly. And those are two very popular examples. A less popular example I wrote down, glass coatings. Glass coatings put on the windshield, because Labo doesn't have a glass coating, right?
No, we had one in development.
Okay.
And it was the most... That's the one I put, after I smelled it, I immediately didn't feel very well. So I immediately put on the mask. That is not the same solvent that's inside the ceramic coating. And
Zonax, to this day, I think, maybe it changes in the future, but to this day it doesn't have one because of exactly the things I want to talk about. Glass coatings for the consumer, for the one who has it on their car, can be dangerous. And it infuriates me when manufacturers claim things like improved visibility. Because the fact of the matter is, you are permanently or semi-permanently changing the surface characteristics of a surface, the glass, the windshield, that has one purpose and one purpose alone. Visibility. That's the main purpose of your windshield.
Of course.
And when you change the surface characteristics, you are changing stuff. Wiper chatter is probably the least problem, but it is a problem. So the wipers can start to jump around on the windscreen, which interferes with visibility because the water is not dispersed as it should be. Then there's this effect of misting. When you have a very fine mist of spray on the highway from the guy driving in front of you, you're having extremely small droplets on your windshield which interfere with visibility.
In the morning.
Exactly. Compared to having not a coating on the windshield is worse in that regard, especially at night when you have the light from the lights on the side of the road and have the lights from the cars coming against you. It can interfere with visibility. And no one, not a single manufacturer of those glass coatings talks about that stuff.
Remember
not a single one.
If you drive here in Switzerland, you go to the Gotthard, inside the Gotthard it's always warm.
Yes.
In the middle of the Gotthard, it's 16 kilometers long tunnel.
Yep. Especially in winter when you...
And I swear to God, the first time it happened to me, I was in the tunnel. It was like 25, 26 degrees in the tunnel. I reached the end of the tunnel. Outside it was cold and I got a flash condensation.
Yes.
It was immediately nothing to see. For 2 seconds before I started hitting the windshield, it was gone immediately. But that condensation was immediate.
And that can be worse when you have a glass coating on it.
Absolutely, and it was coated. Of course it was coated.
And that's... I personally think that should be legally enforced on every single car manufacturer to write that stuff on the bottles. Potential negative effects.
Yeah, because
I think it should be written on there. No one talks about it.
Indeed, the goal for, I believe that many manufacturers are trying to get to this goal, is to get below 50 kilometers per hour. I'll not take the deviation between the angles.
You mean below 50 when the effect starts?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And right now, to achieve that, you need a surface that is super hydrophobic, so it has a higher contact angle than 130, it keeps it, and a higher roll-off angle than 60 degrees or something. I'm throwing numbers out there, not 100% scientifically proven, but it is in this range. So everybody's trying to get to below 50, but it's also in a suburban area where you have street lighting, where it's mistingly raining.
Yeah.
That droplet is, in combination with street lights, is blinding. Car lights,
dispersing the light in a way that wouldn't be there when you don't have a coating on it.
Exactly. It's over from 50, 60 kilometers per hour. Many manufacturers have reached the point, depending on the angle of the front windshield. Porsche has a higher
aerodynamics and
that's also a CW factor. That's also a variable, but there are many ones that can reach from 50 to 60 kilometers, starting to do their work. And getting rid of the water is the entire reason. When the water is on, doesn't matter which type of water, if it's the non-beating water or it's the beating water, it's not the water that you can see the road clearly. So you will still need the wiper. But indeed, below from 0 to 50 kilometers per hour in metro,
it is blinding.
Suburban, I have the wipers on, and I cannot put them on for 10 seconds not turn them on for 10 seconds and then hopefully, because you're literally gambling.
You're blind at that point, exactly.
I think I see.
And if you turn them on and it's not enough water on the wiper blades are jumping around.
Yeah, that's more annoying. That's very annoying.
I mean, to be honest, a functioning glass coating on the highway when it rains is a fantastic thing to look at. It's absolutely fantastic. But no one talks about the downsides. And that's also one thing. Yes, car care can kill you if you have that glass coating on there. And in the worst case scenario, at night, at low speeds, with oncoming traffic, it can kill you because you're temporarily blinded and then you drive against a tree or...
Is there anything
even
else,
worse,
except for the chemicals, except for the product itself, that can kill you? Well, I will take the distraction that I got, because the first time I had a window-type coating was from Bulls 1 in, was it Bulls 1? Rain OK from something like Rain X, but then from Korea, was the first time I applied it. And the first drive I had, I was so mesmerized by the droplets that I went off the road twice. That would never happen if I didn't do it. That's one thing for sure.
Also true.
Yeah, mesmerizing. Mesmerizing to see. And addictive.
And I mean, the last example, I said it before, the skull symbol. To be fair, not many car care chemicals which are publicly available have it. There's one coating from the US, it's called Underdog, the brand. They have a ceramic coating with a skull symbol on it. And I had huge discussions with the owner of that company on Facebook, where all their fans just told me the same thing. Yeah, if you're not careful enough, every chemical can kill you. Yes, but there's literally no other coating I could find that's publicly available that has the skull symbol on it.
My God, what
and there's a reason for that skull symbol. There's a reason for it.
Yeah, there's a reason.
They have something in there which is more dangerous than other stuff from other companies. It's just, it is what it is. Yeah. And I don't understand. I don't understand how that is legally possible, and I don't understand how that is in the responsibility of that company and that company owner to put out such a coating without the necessity of a professional training.
True. Basic information versus understandable, because you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that this is not good.
Any symbol,
the
you're
corrosive
showing
symbol,
me a
the hand, the caustic corrosive symbol. Any common sense person can see that is not very good. So if you do not wear gloves by the use of this product, like I did this
not a good idea, no.
But I have to also say that this counts for the container and the liquid in the container. The danger symbols may change.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Many of those symbols are because of the concentrates in those bottles.
Yes.
It can change when it's diluted accordingly. Yes, to be fair.
This is for storage and for everything. So you know by handling this product that, oh, this product indeed has caustic capabilities.
Yeah. True. Also true. And I mean, to our main goal with every single podcast episode, and this one especially, I think the podcast is called Veritas, so it's about truth. I think we gave you a lot of truth in this episode, maybe more than you can digest, but that's okay. It was an important one. How can we spin that in a positive way? I think what you need to take away from this is some basic measurements every one of you can do. Wear proper protection, gloves, masks, eye protection, have those material safety data sheets available. Stay away from products where you can't find those material safety data sheets. Maybe there's a reason why that thing doesn't exist or isn't available. Maybe that thing doesn't even exist. And if that thing doesn't even exist, then that company is, I think that's true when I say that,
I think you should
doing
repeat
something
that again.
illegally.
I think you should repeat that again. If you cannot find the MSDS about a product, and you cannot find it anywhere.
And even if you ask the manufacturer, and if you don't get it, maybe it doesn't exist, and then I would strongly recommend to change brands.
Yes, products. Because it's very difficult to sue somebody if you have nothing to sue. If by any chance, this is also for you, if by any chance you follow all the rules about the product, the safety and everything, and something still happens, you have a case. If you're not wearing gloves, the first thing the manufacturer is going to say, why didn't you wear gloves? It says caustic on the bottle. Yeah. Your case is gone. So also for reprimanding that if you are the victim of a flaw of the manufacturer, you should be able to have a case to prosecute them to make sure that it never ever happens to anybody else again except you. Yeah. Yes, you will be the victim. Yes, you will be the leading example of what can go wrong, but at least it will never happen again. Yeah. And the same goes for the fucking lying about these products, telling them that they do stuff that they simply do not do, non-existing, happening and everything. That's more the focus than the person using. They just want to sell you the product. They want you to buy it in bulk as much as possible. They don't give a fuck if you die.
Yeah, and in stark contrast to other topics we will also talk about in this podcast, which is durability, promises of gloss and beading and stuff like that. That's a marketing issue. That stuff we talked about in this episode, that's a legal issue.
It's life and death.
Exactly.
Literally life and death.
So
if not now.
So be smart, do your own research, do wear proper protection, and also don't follow herd mentality. Just because everyone says you need to use an ozone machine to kill smells, just because everyone says you can kill mold by adding vinegar, which is nonsense. With some types of mold, you're actually accelerating it. Do your own research, especially with things you know are potentially dangerous to either you or your customers.
I'll tell you from a former military guy that worked with the refueling of the F-16s, there is mold growing in diesel. In the diesel. There's mold growing in the diesel. So please don't tell me that with uneducated, uninformed, that you can remove it with a little bit of vinegar. Please, no.
Exactly.
No.
So with some stuff, do a little bit of research. Also with some types of products. As we said, windshields, brake systems, maybe also a good example. Don't take out seats from your customers' cars when you are not 100% sure that you can put them in back there and everything is okay. If you're just 99% sure, don't do it. Please don't remove seats, don't remove wheels.
Center lock wheels from Porsche.
Exactly. That can also be a costly mistake, not only a deadly mistake. I know how much those cost. Just be aware that you are detailing a car. You're not a mechanic. You're not a doctor, you're not a biologist, you're not a chemist most of the time, so know your limits. Because some of the stuff in car care we use and apply actually can kill you or your customers. Definitely.
Absolutely.
And I hope you can take away some good and helpful information from that.
1% is satisfying enough for me. Just 1%. If you take one thing from this, if you take 99% and you throw it away, but that 1% you keep, then this podcast is a success.
I'm happy with that one, because I think that was one of the single most important ones we did. And if we can only reach like 30 people, I'm already happy.
Yeah.
Because that's potentially 30 detailers and 30, or let's multiply that, 300 customers we potentially saved.
That would be, that looks good on a resume. Actually did something.
Good.
Actually helped somebody.
Good.
Very good.
We don't know yet what the topic of the next one will be. Oh yeah, I know it. Oh, that one will be good. Before we do that, because when I say that, 99% of our listeners will hate us. Thanks for listening if you were listening to the podcast. Thanks for watching if you watched the video. And the topic of the next podcast will be why America isn't the leading detailing industry anymore.
That's funny, because I have never thought of them to be the leading detailing industry.
Thanks, Reggie. That's about 50% of our followers.
I'm not sure. I've never considered to be the United States as a leading. I've said not as a country, but as a person. I can see that one person was a big inspiration for me. Okay, I have watched a lot of Greg.
That will be a controversial one.
Greg Masterson. Or
oh dear God.
We go to the podcast. The one I really want.
I don't want to get sued.
I want to talk about the durability first. The durability. This is the one that's lying in my soul.
You want to do that first?
That's the next episode, ladies and gentlemen. The next
okay,
episode,
it's not the why America isn't the leading detailing nation anymore. That will be the next one. But the next one will be, and then we will end that one. Let's talk about durability.
Yeah, that's the one. This is the one. This is the one.
Let's talk about durability.
How long? How many years? How many kilometers?
Let's talk about 8-year coatings when the company that is offering them has only been in existence for 1 year.
That is interesting, because I cannot wait about this.
That will be a good one. I hope you tune in for that one as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you.
Ciao.
Bye.